Hello and welcome to Take 53. I'm your host, Carol Frausto. Today I will be joined by Agnes Locher. She is the president of the Cupertino Federated Women's Club. Coming up next, we'll discuss the state of volunteerism in the community and find out where this club fits into that picture. So please stay tuned for Take 53.
This is what it feels like to have an asthma attack. It's like breathing through a very thin straw. Asthma is a serious lung disease that can affect people of all ages. The American Lung Association helps people with asthma learn how they can lead normal lives. Asthma can be controlled. For more information, call your local American Lung Association. It's a matter of life and breath. The American Lung Association, the Christmas seal people.
What's wrong, Granddad?
Oh, my dentist today told me I've got gum disease.
You mean periodontal disease.
How do you know about that?
We learned in school that there are warning signs like bleeding gums and bad breath.
Really?
And if I brush and floss every day and make sure that the dentist checks me out, it probably won't happen to me.
Well, I hear it's never too late to start.
Welcome back to Take 53. I'm Carol Frausto. There's an old saying that goes something like this: old PTA members never die, they just join volunteer clubs. And this certainly is the case with my next guest, Agnes Locher. She is the president of the Cupertino Federated Women's Club. They are one of the largest clubs for women in this area, and they are also celebrating their 30th anniversary this year. Agnes, I'd like to welcome you to Take 53.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Great. To get started, is volunteerism dying out, or do you see it being brought back to life in the coming years? How do you see that?
I think it's increasing. Our club this year did 20,000 hours just in '88 of volunteer, and we had 395 projects that we did. And we just have new members, 6 new members in January to help us with our work. We now have 76 members in our club. And last year we gave $23,000 in money and goods to different organizations in the community.
And this is through your club alone?
Through our club alone, just under our auspices.
That's great. What do you see as your club's primary objective? What are some of the main goals for the club?
The main goal for the club is helping where we're needed. In the community, we help at the Veterans Hospital, we help the battered women organizations, we help Cupertino Community Services, the schools, anywhere we're needed. And with so many members, we're always fed different places that need.
And it sounds like a large scope, so you don't really try to focus in on
There's something
one.
for everybody in the club. They can do as little or as much as they want to.
So is it really trying to base things on just volunteer work wherever you're needed within the community?
That's correct. That's it.
That's great. How many members? You said 76 members. I'm sorry, but what is the range in the ages of these women?
Well, it ranges from, I would say, 45 to 85. We have one member, our membership chairman, who is 82 years old and has been in Federation over 50 years. And she's very active. And she was president of a club in Pennsylvania years ago. So we have members that were members of other clubs that are retired out here and still working for us.
That's great. Where do you get the financing for these services?
We have 3 fundraisers a year. We have a boutique in October, and that's all handmade goods by the members, so we have a craft workshop all year long. We have a fashion show in April. This year it'll be at Italian Gardens, and the community is welcome to come. And then we have one of the Mercury Savings lunches. We have a Charity of the Month every month at our meetings, and we collect money, just pass the money can around and collect money for the different organizations like the Heart Fund. This month is the Heart Fund and the March of Dimes and CARE. And we have a charity every month, and we usually average about $75 to $100 a month.
And that's how
So it's just collecting.
And that's the money that you were talking earlier about, the money you'd raised throughout last year. That's the way you do that.
That's the way we do it.
And those set events that you have, those are all made up of members only, or do they?
Well, the fashion show is open to everybody, and of course the boutique. We just love to have customers come to
And
that.
you all make the items.
The
and
items are made, and they meet twice a month all year long. The boutique crafts people. So we have about a core of about 10 ladies that's their thing. They just love to make, and there's nice things too.
That's great. Where does your club meet?
Well, we don't have a clubhouse, and so we meet at different restaurants in the area. We're getting a little large now, so it's sort of difficult. And we have a speaker at every meeting. We meet on the second Wednesdays of the month, and they notify them in the Cupertino Scene and in the Courier. Our meetings are announced.
I see. At one of these meetings, what's a normal type of agenda? What goes on besides?
Well, we have our regular business meeting, and then we have lunch, and then we have a speaker in the after lunch. And in September, we had Brad Britton from the city here on with an excellent presentation on earthquakes. October, we had the Gloria Hom, who is a political science instructor at Mission College, and she's also on the State Board of Education. She spoke on all the propositions. And November, we had the chair of the mental health of Santa Clara County, telling about the different services available there. December, we had the Madrigals from Monte Vista High School to entertain. And in our January meeting, we had Diane McKenna, our supervisor, to speak and answer questions.
Well, on that note, when we come back, I'd like to take a break right now. And when we come back, let's talk about where the club stands on political issues.
Tall ships, the great sailing vessels of the last century. Quiet waterfront communities and huge urban seaports. Shipwrecks, all are part of our great American heritage. A few of these great sailing ships and paddle boats remain to keep alive for us the lore and skills of another age. They have much to teach us, but like other valuable things from our past, they must be cared for and maintained. They teach us of the courage and adventure of the seagoing life that helped build this nation, and the self-reliance and perseverance that are part of the American character. Join us in keeping our maritime heritage alive and vibrant. Preserve and protect it for the enjoyment of all by supporting maritime preservation efforts in your community. Don't give up the ships.
And we're back on Take 53. I'm Carol Frausto, here with Agnes Locher, the president of the Cupertino Federated Women's Club. Agnes, earlier you mentioned that the club will often invite different speakers, and you did mention that you had a local politician speak at one of your club meetings. Can you tell me if the club has any stance on political issues?
We are nonpartisan. We do not, as a rule, discuss any politics at all. The only thing is we have a legislative chairman, and if there's a bill coming up like the nursing home bill or something like that, then we will mention it and have suggest the members write to their representative. But other than that, we are nonpartisan.
As far as elections go?
Oh no, we don't. We have all kinds of people.
Is there any special reason for that?
Well, because we want to welcome everybody into the club, and we want to have a varied group so that we just don't get into it.
See, I'm sure that we talked about a lot of the volunteer work, but what other types of ongoing activities does the club undertake?
Well, we have we go to the Veterans Hospital every other month and have a bingo party in the spinal cord injury department. We have a very special arts festival every a summer at the Veterans Hospital the last 2 years, and a lot of our members go up and give art lessons to the participants up there. We have a quartet singing group that goes to nursing homes and residents, elderly residents, and to the Veterans Hospital and sings old-fashioned songs. We have an ongoing, we started this fall, every meeting, members bring canned goods, and we bring those canned goods to the Cupertino's services, community services. We have the ongoing crafts group that I mentioned. We have a literature group. We have, we give scholarships in the high schools and in De Anza. We have, one thing I really wanted to mention was we have an art show for the K-12 students, and we will be having the art show at the library on the 9th of March, and the community is invited to come in and judge the art, and then they will go on to the district level of the winners of the art show.
There are so many activities. It sounds like being president of this organization is a full-time job. What are some of your responsibilities that go along with this?
Well, I have a lot of help. I have a fine board, and we have chairmen of these different kinds of activities, and then I ask them for things, and they ask me for things. And so that in this manner, I'm not responsible for all these different things. I'm sort of like the top of the umbrella, and then I have these people on, on my board that do these particular activities. And they're very helpful.
Do you have any members? When was the inception, or when was Cupertino Federated Women's founded here in Cupertino?
It was 30 years ago, March.
30 years ago.
And we have 3 active, very active members that were original members: Dora Bianchini, Winnie Martisic, and Margaret Martisic. And I'm sure that there's others that I can't think of right now that are original and members and are still very active in our group.
You mentioned that it's your 30 years this year. Do you have any special plans for celebrating that anniversary?
Well, we are going to meet at Mariani's restaurant. Our meeting will be in March. One of the things that the original ladies were very high on with the library, when it was at the Illyrio Center, they volunteered at the Illyrio Center. When the library, our library now was dedicated, the Federated Women were the hostesses. And this year, once again, we were hostesses at the rededication of the library. And so that was a lot of fun for some of the ladies who had been in it when they can remember the library at the Illyrio Center.
I remember that reception when they announced the women that were actually at the opening ceremony for that dedication.
Yes.
That's wonderful. When this organization was originally founded, well, let's ask, when was the entire organization founded? Not just here in Cupertino, but the organization that branches off.
Nationally, it will be 100 years old in 1990. And we have been working for 3 years to collect money in California for a float in the Rose Parade next year. And we've raised the money for the float, and we are very proud of the fact that a state president this year is a member of our club, and she will ride on the float. And it has been very interesting we've had instructions on how and when, and it's a little more complicated than just put flowers on a float and put it out. You have to have 3 years notice.
To get an entry.
To get an entry in the Rose Parade.
And then who does the actual production of this?
Well, you pay $100,000 for the float, and our members down in Lower California, around Los Angeles and Pasadena, are going to decorate the float.
The club has been around for 100 years, and I was wondering, when it was originally founded, has the mission statement continued on through the years? Has the club accomplished what it originally set out to do?
Well, I don't think anybody will ever accomplish what you set out to do. We do have a structure that the Cupertino Club belongs to Loma Prieta District, And there are 18 clubs in the district. It goes from Pacific Grove to Palo Alto and to San Jose. Then we belong, there are 26 districts in the state of California and 480 clubs. And then you go on to 50 clubs, 50 states belong to national. And there's an international club. So it's a very worldwide organization.
Now that you've explained to me the structure of the Women's Club, do any other communities have women's clubs?
Saratoga has a very small club that meets in the evening. Campbell has a very large club. Cupertino is considered a medium-sized club, 50 to 100. Campbell has over 100. Mountain View has a club, Los Altos, and Palo Alto.
Do you have to be a Cupertino resident to join the Federated Club here?
Not at all. We have members from Saratoga, Sunnyvale, Westside San Jose. Anybody is welcome.
How do people get involved? How do they become a member of the Federated Club?
Our meetings are posted in the Courier and in the Cupertino scene. A woman they have to come to 3 activities. We do have memberships teas twice a year, and those are advertised in the paper too. We just had one in November, and we will have one in the spring. They come to 3 activities, and then if they feel as though they fit into our group, then they just become a member.
What do you mean by 3 activities? 3 of the meetings,
Well,
or
3 of the meetings, or if we have an activity like the boutique in the fall, and we do go to the races. We have a few social activities. They want to go to the races, or we went to the Stanford Museum this year, or something like that, some social activity.
Well, when we come back, we'll finish our talk with Agnes Locher, president of the Cupertino Federated Women's Club.
This man will have a heart attack in 20 minutes. At first he'll think it's indigestion, but the pain won't go away. He doesn't want to die. He just hasn't gotten around to the things he's been planning to do. Like lowering his blood pressure and cholesterol, losing weight and exercising instead of passively watching others. Soon he'll catch the end of the game. There'll be no overtime.
You can help prevent heart disease. We can tell you how.
Didn't I try to tell you? Didn't I try to share? When the rain came, well, you went away.
This year, 5,000 of our children will take their own lives. One way to prevent suicide is listening. Are you?
We're back on Take 53, and I'm talking with the president of the Cupertino Federated Women's Club, and we're going to discuss their support of activities for young people. Agnes, I understand that your organization is very supportive of the schools in the area. Could you just tell me about some of the programs that you help support?
Yes, we give 2 $500 scholarships every year to high school seniors in the area who are going to attend 4-year colleges, and 2 $200 scholarships to students who are going to go to junior college. And last year we had enough money to be able to support 2 $100 scholarships for reentry people at De Anza. We have an elementary school, our literature group has an essay contest in the elementary schools in the fall and the 6th grade. And in the spring we have a essay contest in all the high schools for the seniors in the area. Actually, all high school students, not only seniors, because we've had younger students who have gotten the awards. We support 2 students from the high schools in the area, 2 sophomores, to go to the Hugh O'Brien seminar for leadership training. And we also have a campership. We support a campership for the crippled children's camp in Stevens Creek every year.
And what does that mean, a campership?
That allows a youth from the area to go, that is a crippled child, to go to the camp for a week.
See, are any of these, what is the timeline on these projects? Is there a deadline for applications, or what happens as far as that goes?
Right now, the scholarship and the high school essay contests are open. I believe the deadlines are in April.
And that's for any the students in the Cupertino area?
Yes.
Is that Fremont?
Fremont Union High School District.
I see.
And they can get the information at their career centers.
Besides your supporting of the young people in the area, are there any other special interest groups that the Cupertino Federated Women's Club supports?
Yes, we have been very supportive and very interested in the WOMA, the Battered Women Home. Actually, this past year we gave over 2,800 pounds of household goods and food and clothing to WOMA for these people.
Now this is things that your organization has actually received from donations and gathered.
That's correct.
That must have taken you a lot of time to gather all that.
It does. There's some women who never get in the garage. It's full of things. We also support Variety Audio, which is Books Aloud. At Christmas time, we had what we called an angel tree, and it had 50 names of children in the children's shelter. And we were supposed to take, the members were supposed to take a name of a child, and it had the first name and the age. And by the time I got to the tree, all the names were gone. We had 50 wrapped packages with names and the ages on it, and then other members donated stuffed toys. Somebody donated all the candy canes for the children's shelter and decorations for their tree, and that's for the county shelter. We do have varied interests, and so there.
It sounds like each member can really, choose an area that is really what they're interested in.
That's what's so wonderful about the club.
What do you see it as making this club so unique?
Well, to me, so many different activities. You can do as little as you want in the club, and it's an extended family for me and for lots of people who their family moves away, and they're very just like all of them are your friends. It's a unique group, I think, because everybody gets along. If there's a crisis in your family, they're there, and there's always somebody you can depend on.
Now, if you live out of state and you're maybe a member at another club out of that state, do you ever see people coming, relocating in this area? And
oh yes, we have several members. Just recently, we inducted a member from a club in Illinois that had moved out here, and we have them from Pennsylvania. And a lot of people move out here either to retire or their husbands got transferred and they belong to a club, either a senior club or a junior club. We have members that were juniors back east and came here and joined our club.
Well, I know we mentioned that quote earlier about PTAs, and I guess that's once you get involved and you see what kind of good you can do in the community, you've got to continue, it seems like. What is the longest time, let me restate that, how long do members usually stay in this organization that you've seen maybe in Cupertino? Do you have just, once you get in and...
Well, since I've been in, the people, if they've moved away, they still are what we call associate members. We have about 15 associate members because we do have a newsletter that goes out every month, and they keep renewing their membership in order to get the news of what we are doing on our club level.
Well, as far as, you've had a lot of wonderful events, do you feel that you've received the recognition, or the club has received the recognition it deserves for all these activities?
Oh yes, every year at least 2 of our members have received a Civic Service Award. In 1987, one of our members, Margaret Martisich, received the Cupertino Citizen of the Year Award. One of our members has received the national award for starting the very special arts festival at the Veterans Hospital, Charlotte Chastain, and she's also received a service award from the city. And every year we have to make out reports, and we turn in on our different groups and different activities. And last year our club on the district level received 24 awards, and on the state level we received 5, which is pretty good for our medium-sized club.
Well, we talked about on the state level, you have the float that's coming up. Does the state tell you what areas in your community you need to focus on, or how does that communication work between the state, the district, and the local levels?
Every club is more or less autonomous. They do what they can in their own community. There are certain things like the float, or like our state president, her emphasis is on the March of Dimes this year, so we are attempting, all the clubs in the state are attempting to send a dollar per member for her work on the March of Dimes. On the national level, CARE is of great concern. The organization CARE is of great concern, so we try to send $1 a member to the national level. But other than that, most of the activities are right within our own area.
For for people in the community, our viewers that are really interested in your organization, you mentioned that you meet the second Wednesday of every month. How can they find out about these meetings or where they're going to be held?
Well, they can call me at 253-2779. There will be notices in the Cupertino Courier and in the Cupertino Scene. And that will be the easiest way to, and there'll be phone numbers in those too for other people, members of the club, who will answer their questions.
The meetings aren't held at one location every time? They change?
No, we move around.
Okay. Well, it sounds like your organization deserves a recognition that it's gotten, because the volunteerism is always needed in the community.
We were particularly happy in December when Councilman Barbara Rogers came to our meeting and gave us a city proclamation for our work in the community.
That's great. I really would like to thank you for joining me today.
Well, you're welcome.
I'd like to thank my guest today, Agnes Locher, President of the Cupertino Federated Women's Club, and I'd like to thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Carol Frausto, saying please join me as I continue to explore the issues that face your community on Take 53.